Okay, welcome to another tutorial. Now this is the shot we're trying to recreate. It's a VFX shot and I did a lot of cool things here. First thing is an Easter egg that I'm sure nobody noticed. This white car over here is a CG car. It's not real. Yeah, I'm sure nobody noticed that. So yeah, let's get to it. This is the background video we'll be using. It's a stationary video, very simple. I just rushed over there, took the video and rushed back home. So first thing you need to do as usual is to take a screenshot of this video. Then paste that screenshot into FSpy. Now I think we have Z-axis here and we also have, let's call this, let's call it Y-axis. So let's do -Z and Y. Okay, so Z-axis is the vertical axis. Let's take each end and draw a line following this line. Yeah, and let's do it for the other one. Let's go way over here and draw a line following this. Yeah, now let's do the same for this part of the image, the roof. Make sure it's aligned properly and do the same for, let's say, this board here. Yeah, good, sweet. Now I have all the details here. Just hit Ctrl S and save this as VFX Day 6. Now as usual in our blend file, just go File, Import, FSpy, then select the file. Let's lift this up, so G, Z to lift it up, so we can see our grid on the floor. Nice. Now let's go to the camera view and increase the opacity so we can see our background video. Shift A, Mesh Plane. So we'll have our floor. Let's just make it line up with this entire space. S, Y to scale it down so we have the lane. What was cool about this video in particular is because I recreated the scene a lot. Like this car, these cars over here, this one, this wall, I recreated it. So in case the simulation went out of these bounds and hit this wall, you'll be able to see it. That's how I was able to get realistic looking shadows. Okay, shift this over here, scale it on the X axis. Good. We can adjust it later, so just leave it as is right now. Now go into Render Engine Cycles GPU, and what we should do now is go to Object, Visibility and Shadow Catcher. Now go into Render View so we can see it. Now let's quickly light up our scene. This was an overcast day, so we'll use an environment texture that is cloudy. Shadow plots. Yeah, this always gets me. And go to Render, File, Film and Transparent. Yeah. Now if I add a cube and go into edit mode, GZ1, and I scale it down, I should be able to see it looks quite realistic. Like the cube is actually there. I like to do this every single time. It just gives me the confidence that whatever I do going forward is going to be nice. So yeah, we have our cube. Now let's start reconstructing this scene. So how I go about this is to just eyeball it. Let me show you what I mean. Go into edit mode, go into edge select, click this edge, this end, and drag it on the y-axis. Drag it down to whatever line you can see at the back. Now let's do this for this guy, no, this other guy. And the problem now is these cars are covering the edge where this wall starts from, but we just have to eyeball it at this point. So G, X, and move it down till somewhere you imagine the edge of the wall will be. Yeah, so somewhere around here. Good, good, good. Yeah, we could just extrude that line E, Z, and bring it up to this point. Yeah, then E, bring it outwards so it lines up. Now let's see if it's kind of matches. Yeah, something like that. So we want to have this kind of roof thingy happening here. Yeah, just the way it is in the actual video. It doesn't need to be modeled exactly to exact detail, no. It just needs to have that kind of general geometry. For example, this cube here, this rectangle, this sign, I did not model it in my video. I would have modeled it if the pin hits the sign. That would have been something that I should have modeled. But since the explosion, not the explosion, the scattering of the pins, it didn't hit this sign. So yeah, it was good. So it all depends. You can model it to exact detail, which they do in Hollywood movies, but we don't need that here. Cool. Now the next thing I did was to grab some car models. Let's delete this guy first. Yeah, this is a car model. This is a white car. Personally, what I do is also to eyeball this. So is it touching the ground? Is it lining up with the floor? I think it is. Let's bring it down a bit. Yeah, so I just try to line this up with the white car in the background. So what I do is to turn this to a shadow catcher. So object, shadow catcher, and move it in the y-axis and then in the x-axis till I am kind of lined up. Yeah, so this is around where the tire is. So let's make this car a little bit smaller and bring it down so it's just touching the plane. You do a lot of changes in this kind of video when you're trying to recreate the background. So let's bring this on this axis. So yeah, it is kind of matching now. Kind of, it doesn't need to be 100% accurate, but then they're not even the same car in the first place. This is a BMW and I'm using a Benz, I think. So yeah, now we have one car here. This is another car, so let's make sure it is touching the plane and not intersecting. Yeah, we need to also line this up. So what we can do here, since we know where the first one is, we could just take it right beside it and scale it down so it's around the same size. So let's see how that looks. Okay, just scale it down a little bit more. And yeah, let's also make sure it's touching the ground. The best thing is to have this origin to be somewhere near the floor, so you don't have to do this again. Cool, let's see how that looks. Let's turn on shadow catcher and adjust it so it fits. Good, now you see it's somewhere around the same line. So if there is an object here, like a cube or something, let's even test it. Let's add a cube and do what we did again. GZ1, scale it down and bring it over there. It's going to be hard to see because of the cloudy day, but then let's just test it. Let's make this cube huge and put it beside the cars. Let's see if this checks out. Yeah, so you can see the shadow of the cube on the car. This will totally transform your work. So it looks as if the shadow of the cube is casted on the car, even though the car we put there does not perfectly match this. It doesn't matter so far it's a small part of it. If it's something very close to us or something very huge, you need to make it match, but this is something quite far away, so it can absolutely work. Yeah, so if we make this invisible, see there's no longer a shadow, so it's basically our car shadow catcher. Yeah, that's how you get realistic results. So shift D to duplicate this car and GY to take it all the way down there, so you can get to as much detail as you want. I think I did just this car, this truck, this van I mean, and then this one, but I don't think I did more than that. I didn't do all these cars at the back. I didn't do this one because this one was moving, I think. And yeah, something I did. The reason I did this Let me not show you now. Let's add our pins first. So I got this bowling pin from CG Trader. Now let's just duplicate it around so it forms like a line. Yeah, it doesn't matter now because I'm just showing you as an example. So let's bring it forward a bit. Could also bring it this way. Let's see it in the rendered view. Cool, this looks dope. Now the reason why I wanted to cover that car was because when I do this, now we have a problem. It looks like the ball is on top of the car. But if I take this car here, duplicate it, move it here, move it closer to me. Let's turn off the shadow catcher so we can see it. Rotate it on the z-axis 90 degrees. Bring it forward and just try to match it with this one here. Yeah, bring it forward a bit so it lines up with the tires. GX. Now normally if you have the same exact car, it will be perfect because you just need to make this a shadow catcher and this car will catch the shadow. But then because this is not the same car and this side mirror is closed, this side mirror is open, I didn't just want to bother, so I just took this car and I basically used it to cover the entire car. Now it looks cool. So if this car wasn't there, we would have had this weird thing happening here that we would have to fix later. But now, yeah, we don't need to worry about that. And the funny thing is that nobody realized that this car was CG. So let's go into our camera, view port display, and increase this. Yeah, so you see, you're only seeing part of this car. And it looks very, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. So cool, we have our pins now. What do we need? We need a bowling ball. Let's extend this here first. Yeah. So this is our bowling ball. Let's drop it somewhere in front. And make sure it's just above. Yeah. Yeah, hope it's the same size, is an accurate size. Yeah, I think bowling balls are usually around, look at the reference obviously, yeah, bowling balls are usually around here, so I think we're good because it looks so big from the camera angle. It's just perspective. So line it up here. Good. Now what we want to do is to roll this ball to hit these pins. Let's go into solid view since we're just working with physics now. First thing is to click on the plane, hit rigid body, make it passive. And do the same for every single car. Rigid body, make it passive. And the reason why I can do this is because this car, I have joined all the meshes together, all the parts, so it's just one car. And same for this. Low poly cars are best for this kind of thing because we don't need the detail. So rigid body, passive. Same thing here, rigid body, passive. Cool. Now for this one, let's add the rigid body and leave it active. Then the fastest way to copy it to the rest is to shift click on the rest and make sure the one that has the rigid body is selected in yellow. Then go to object, rigid body, copy from active. So all of them now has the rigid body. Cool. Let's first play this and see how it looks, if everything is alright. Because simulations can be, what did I say? Simulations can be tricky. So yeah, let's make sure these things are over the floor and they're not intersecting, because that can be an issue. So let's see it now. I don't like working with simulations, even though they are very fun, they are really annoying. Okay, let's make this wall a bit more solid. What I mean is, let's select this face and P to separate it, and then make sure you're selecting just this, extrude downwards so it's like an actual solid object. Let's see if that solves the problem. Yep, that solved the problem. Okay, it's because it was a plane, that's why it was acting crazy. So it dropped, they all drop, which is fine actually. You can adjust it to make it even closer to the ground, but you don't need to do that. You only just need to start your render at frame 5 or something after they have dropped. Yeah. Now, how did I propel this ball? Yes, there are a lot of ways to do this. This is rigid body simulation. You can play with it however you like. You can animate this. Let's try that first. Let's try animating this at frame 1. Add rigid body to it. Click animated at frame 1. Insert location keyframe, and at frame say 30, bring it way over here and insert another keyframe. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, did that not just work? Yeah, that actually just worked. So we can end the tutorial here, right? Yeah, this was the first thing I tried when I was doing it, but it didn't work out well. That's the thing about simulations, they are not predictable. You have to test things out and make sure this thing you are testing is working well for you. So different people have different experiences. Cool. So we can just leave it like this, but what I did, let me just use the opportunity to show you what I did. Let's remove this clear keyframes. I added a cube and I pressed it on the y-axis. Then I also added rigid body and made this animated. Then I removed animation from this one, and then what I did was to animate this instead. So from frame 1, hit a keyframe, and frame 30, let's take it like over here and hit I again. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's what I did, but let's make it faster. So let's bring it from 30 to 15. Yeah. So it depends on you. The problem with this is that it covers the camera. So yeah, I think for this tutorial, you could do whichever style you want. You could either hit it or you could animate it. The reason why I wanted to hit it is to have a realistic look. I think I should just keep it like this here. Okay, so let's make our ball end up farther. Okay, go to frame 1 and no, frame 30 and move it this way so it's farther. Yeah, cool. Let's see how that looks. Okay, it should also not start from here, it should be outside of the frame. Yeah, let's see how this looks. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can do this, but you can also do the other one I did with the cube. Now, I remembered another reason why I wanted to do it that way, because of the rotation. Yeah, the way it is now, for me to make it look realistic, I have to also animate the rotation. So at frame 30, I need to do a lot of movements and just roll the ball a lot, so it has some form of rotation animation. But if I do it the other way, I would automatically get that because it's just a physics simulation. Okay, now it's rolling. Yeah, so it depends on whatever you want. We basically have the shot. Now let's see it in our rendered view. Let's see if it's interacting with the cars. Yeah, that's basically it. Are they interacting with the cars? Yeah, this is interacting with the car, and you can also see the shadow on the car, which is super cool. So that's basically how I did this. And also this Easter egg is so hilarious. No one noticed this, but yeah, this is basically how I got the shots looking so realistic. So try it out, and I would like to see it. Just tag me. If you're interested in diving deeper, I'm launching a course on August 15th, a VFX mastery course. Also included in the course are the blend files for this challenge, all 30 blend files and all 30 background video. Yeah, it comes with the course. It's launching August 15th, but you can access the files today. So if it's something you're interested in, there will be a link in the description. Just click it and get it. It is highly discounted right now. I'm sorry for the people that are going to watch this video months from now, but for you guys that are watching it, there's an early bird offer that is still on, so you can just grab it and have fun with it. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Stay creative, guys. See ya.